Hi lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in on my journey. So a few of you have been asking about how I got here, what the process was like coming into child life as a student at McMaster. And I just wanted to use this video to share my journey with you and the application process to applying to child life at McMaster to hopefully help you, give you some tips, give you some insight onto the process. If you have more questions after this video, feel free to throw them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them as they come in. Feel free also to send me an email. Yeah, so my journey actually started when I was 6 months old. My brother was a pediatric oncology patient at the Winnipeg Children's Hospital, and he was being treated there. That was my first interaction with a child life specialist, and my parents still talk about today how much that child life specialist had an impact on our family. That's where it all started. So forever I have known what a child life specialist is, which I think is really unique because a lot of people don't know. You mention it to a person on the street and they're likely not to understand it. So I'll do another video kind of about child life, what it entails for those of you who haven't heard of it. But this video will specifically just be on my journey to getting into the program and where I am today. Once my brother recovered and has been considered cancer-free for years, which is such a blessing, we kind of moved on with our lives. We still talked about the awesome child life specialists that work with our family. And then I was 10 years old and I had to have an orthopedic surgery, and I had a child life specialist to come in before and just kind of go over what was going to happen, who the surgeons were, how they still had a smile on under their masks, and just that extra comfort layer to put in there. So that again kind of reminded me, even at 10 years old, hey, this is what a child life specialist does, and this is a really cool role. So fast forward to about grade 8, so I guess 12, 13. My mom took me to the Health Sciences Hospital in London, where there was a child life specialist, and she's one of those people that will just walk up to someone and say, hey, can I talk to this person? And the child life specialist had a few minutes to come out and talk to us about what the program was. At the time it was the diploma program and an internship, so it was a lot less hoops to get through. And so she talked about how much she enjoyed her career, what it entailed, and what her schooling looked like. And so that was kind of one of those things I back-pocketed in my mind. The more I grew older, the program started to shift. I think just as I was finishing high school, it shifted from the diploma program at McMaster to the 2-year program, Masters, that it is now. I took a year off and went to Germany, had a great time, nothing about child life there. After my time in Germany, I came back to Ontario and started my Bachelor of Applied Science in Child, Youth and Family at the University of Guelph. And through that program, I chose that program specifically because it was Child, Youth and Family, covering all of child development and family structures. And also I was able to get my Registered Early Childhood Educator certification with it as well, which, if you don't know, is something that you usually go to college for a 2-year program to become registered with the College of Early Childhood Educators. But through my program, I was able to get my degree as well as all of the requirements to become a registered early childhood educator, which was fantastic because then I came out of my 4-year bachelor's with 2 letters behind my name. So I have my Bachelor of Applied Science and my RECE, which I think also kind of in any circumstance, whether you're job hunting, whether you're trying to get into any competitive program, is always great just to have that extra kind of competitive edge. So that was super helpful. I learned so much through specifically the one practicum I had working at a childcare center, just giving an overall understanding of program planning for children, which is helpful in child life and really helpful in any area when you're working with kids. So throughout my undergrad, I was working with children as much as I could. Volunteer at the church I was going to as a Sunday school teacher, and any employment opportunities I saw were with children, and hopefully something with, again, a little bit of a competitive edge to gain more experience to my tool belt. Again, I wasn't specifically thinking about child life at this time. I was kind of thinking broader: social work, child life, midwifery, early intervention, anything like that. In my first 2 years of university, I was integration coordinator at a camp, which gave me a lot of experience working with children with special needs. And then the next year I worked with youth, which gave me a really awesome experience in adolescent development. So the next summer I decided to be a nanny, and I found an awesome family with 4 children, a wide variety of ages. I learned a lot through them. They also experienced medical crisis halfway through the summer, so it gave me a lot of experience with families who were working with healthcare professionals on a daily basis, and learning their role, learning the family's role, learning how advocacy was so key for families going through medical crisis, specifically those that were less known by healthcare professionals, and the need for support that those parents had, the needs for support that the siblings had of the child, and the support that that child needed. And that's really kind of what brought me back, almost looking more into the healthcare, looking more into child life through that 4 months, which I think was really a blessing, and the Lord kind of guiding me towards child life. So that was that summer. Obviously COVID continued. It did not end after that summer. The school board, the local school board that I was in Guelph, was looking for uncertified teachers because they were so desperate because of the amount of teachers that had to take time off, which was a great experience for me. I was supply teaching K to 12. I'd get the call early in the morning. I would show up, they would give me the plans for a supply teacher. I would teach the class for the day and then send them on their way. It was a huge learning experience, and I'm really thankful for that. It challenged me in a lot of ways. So I gained a lot of experience. I saw a lot into different children's lives, especially in the context of the pandemic. So that was also really interesting, and really, again, prepared me for working in a healthcare setting, working in kind of unpredictability, working with children who had been through a lot of trauma. And so all of these things kind of accumulated as I was kind of narrowing to the end of my degree and kind of wondering, okay, what now? So obviously that led me to continue to kind of think about where my I chose to apply 3 different avenues: teaching, midwifery, and child life. So yeah, that's what brought me to the application process, and I think that's why you guys are here watching this. So I wanted to kind of share what that looked like for me, and hopefully give you some tips if you are applying this year. So on my laptop here I have all of the documents that I sent in. Some of them it wasn't this many, some of them are in Word, and some of them you had to send them in PDF. So if you are applying to McMaster for the Masters in Child Life and Pediatric Psychosocial Care program, which is what I'm doing right now, this is what's required. And if you go to their website and you look at like application process and what it entails, this is what you will see. So definitely go look at the McMaster website, see what their requirements are for this coming year, just to cross over and double check if anything has changed. So the 2 big things that I want to talk about are your resume and your personal statement. So those are the things you're going to spend the most amount of time on. If you have a resume already going, awesome. Update that, make sure it's completely clean, completely sublime, absolutely perfect. And then your personal statement, you have to answer 3 questions in 750 words, all talking about kind of what brought you to child life, what is child life mean to you, and what are your career aspirations. Those questions are also on that website page, so make sure you check that out. So I wrote both of those, and then I sent them, I think, to 5 people to run a fine-tooth comb and find all of the mistakes, edit the poop out of it, so that you can go back through and kind of take those 5 people's different edits and different perspectives and take what you want from them to hopefully create this awesome document that you're going to send to the school. So those are 2 really important pieces. The next 2 really important pieces, 3 really important pieces, are your references. So you have to have 2 academic references and then 1 professional reference. I highly recommend, if you are still in your undergrad and you are wanting to apply, somehow finding some way that you can connect with a prof more than just doing well in their class, more than just showing up in their class and saying hi. I had the opportunity to do a research internship in my first semester, my 4th year, which was basically just working with 2 profs on a project with 3 other students. So it was COVID, so we were meeting over Zoom to discuss a research project, which really gave me an opportunity to get to know my profs, as well as my profs an opportunity to get to know me. It was also in my department, which was a great plus, so it meant that I had already taken some of their classes, so they kind of knew who I was, but the classes were like 200 plus people. So this gave me an opportunity to really get to know them on a personal level. You can contact profs even if you've been in like a 500-person lecture with them and say, hey, like I did really well in your class, this is my grade, I was wondering if you'd be a reference for me. That's okay, but the more personal you can get a connection, the more they're going to be kind of on your team and trying to help you actually get here. Which is, I was really blessed with that opportunity, and I would encourage you, if you're in your undergrad, to seek those out. The last reference you need is a professional reference. Obviously, if you're able to get volunteer experience with a child life specialist, which previous to COVID you needed to apply to child life, post-COVID it's been a little more lenient. Obviously get that child life to write your reference letter if you have a really good relationship with them. I think probably coming from a child life specialist is the best, especially because the child life community is so tight that chances are the people who are a part of admissions probably know of the child life specialist you worked with. In my case, my placement at a hospital with a child life specialist was cancelled due to COVID, so I asked the mother of the family who I nannied for, who had the medical crisis, to write my reference letter. I sent her the requirements for the program, and I just asked her to highlight certain things that I did. She was absolutely incredible, the biggest blessing in the world. She wrote me a 6-page reference letter. It's not 100%, they're not looking for that from every reference person. I know that really helped me, so I'd encourage you to definitely specifically give your both academic and professional references exactly what you're looking for. So make sure you have those. Those are kind of the key pieces. Let me see. So you have to have your official transcript from your university, or if you've already graduated, then your completed transcript. Volunteer hours, so you had to have 100, technically you had to have 100 hours under a child life specialist. Because of COVID, they changed it just to be working with children. So I was going to be getting those hours previous to my application. With COVID, that placement got canceled, so those hours no longer worked. So what I did, if you have that kind of opportunity where you had an opportunity to work with child life specialists, but because of COVID or extenuating circumstances, I wrote my program coordinator and asked her to write a letter saying, hey, Naomi had been accepted into this placement, but because of COVID, she wasn't able to experience it, basically saying it wasn't on me for not being able to get my hours, it was COVID. And then under that, I put my practicum hours that I'd worked at a child care center. I had Sunday school teaching hours, and I think I had one other volunteer hours that I was able to use to just show them that I had over 100 hours in the field, which is really what they were looking for. The next part that you have to submit is your child development coursework. So you have to have 0 to 18 child development courses. So at the University of Guelph, that looked like taking 1 infant development class, 1 early and middle childhood development class, and 1 adolescent development class. So make sure you've taken all of those. Right now, if you're watching this in September of 2021 or October of 2021, you should be able to get that in. If you don't have those classes and you're looking for them, or you need one of them, make sure you take that in the winter semester. If you can't find it on your campus, you can definitely find it online through another university. Just talk to your program counselor and they should be able to help you find that and get that. Yeah, so those were the things that I had to submit for the application. Again, double check that McMaster website. I know Simon Fraser also has recently started a child life program where they take 8 students every 2 years. So it's also a program to look into. McMaster takes 14 every year. And I'm not exactly sure I don't think the Simon Fraser is a master's, but I could be wrong. So that's something that you can totally research and look into. So once you submit all the application, you just kind of sit and wait. I'd have to double check the dates, but I think I waited about a month Actually, yeah, I think it was a month to the dot, so it was actually a really quick turnaround before I got my interview email, which was such a surprise. I remember getting the email and I called my roommate and I was like, Amy, come. And she held my hand and I opened the email and I was like, you've been selected for an interview, which was just such a confidence boost in that kind of one more step. It definitely was also very scary because it was like, okay, I'm one step closer, but am I going to make it that 2 steps? So I had a lot of self-confidence issues in the application process, but I'm really thankful for all the encouragement from the people around me, and just for how God just guided me into this role. So I'm really thankful for that. And I will make another video later on, probably closer to interview time, maybe honestly in a month, I don't know, about kind of the interview process, what it looked like, and then after I was accepted, what that process of the summer looked like, all the things that I had to get in order to be a part of the program. And then I'll do another video later on, kind of more details about what the program entails, what it looks like for the 2 years, what the coursework looks like, what I'm learning. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. I would love to connect with you. A couple of you have already commented, and I'm so glad that you guys are looking to apply to this amazing program and get into this awesome field. And I really want to share this with you and also use this platform as a tool to help others pursue their dreams in child life. Yeah, so thanks for coming to this little chat with me, learn more about my journey, and I would love to hear about your journeys in the comments below, where you're going to school, if you're going to school right now, what has led you to child life. It'd be great if we just had a little aspiring child life community going on in the comments. So please make sure you hit that like button, it really helps me out, and leave a comment below. Thanks so much for joining me, and we will see you next week with some new content, likely on, fingers crossed, a room tour. If not a room tour, some more about child life, or if you guys have a bunch of questions in the comments, it might just be like me answering your Q&A. We'll see you next week. Bye!